Well, Gemini, it's February 2019. I keep wanting to say 2018. That's part of the habit of coming into the new year. I hope it's panning out nicely for you. Thanks for joining me. And to those of you that are new, I'm here to give you a snapshot of the heavens, sometimes in a slightly irreverent way. The secret here on the internet is to try to do things a little bit differently. I mean, there's 1,000, maybe 10,000 astrologers out there sort of regurgitating the same stuff. Maybe I'm doing the same, but I'd like to sort of work on thematic sorts of approaches to what's happening. For example, the new moon we talk about, the transits of all the planets we talk about, but I think just going through all of this stuff chronologically, and you can do that at the side. I'll give you the details at the end. It's better to look at, what a theme is right now. What is it that you can work on right now to help you maximize the energy of these planets? And the first thing is that we see the new moon in your 9th house. That's the first one. That takes place on the 5th of February. So we have to pull the threads together to see, well, what's the new moon mean? What's the 9th house mean? And of course, sign of Aquarius, what's that mean? It's all happening there. Mercury, the sun, and on the 5th, the new moon. So this area of your life is activated. The 9th house has to do with belief systems, political, philosophical, religious ideas. It has to do with long journeys. So, I get bang, 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 bang through the list of things that are ruled by this area. So depending on when you're specifically born, this part of your life will be triggered. But the new moon has a rather significant meaning in that it refreshes that whole notion. So in respect of religious beliefs, there could be some incredible new insight that awakens or arouses your interest in a new philosophy, a new culture, traveling for the purpose of not necessarily sightseeing, but to, plug into a different perspective on your life. Those of you who are looking to educate yourselves can start to see the way forward after that new moon. Now, the second point, I don't want to labour each of these too much because we don't have a lot of time, but the transit of Venus into your 8th house is interesting. You've just had Venus there. Well, it's there till around the 3rd of February, so only for a few days more if you're listening to this now. The 7th house, where it's been for some time, is a lovely energy for your relationships. And the 7th house literally means your most intimate relationships, but the 8th house, which is where this planet transits this month, has to do with your intimacy per se, your sexuality, the resources that are shared. Generally, we talk about this house being shared resources. What does that mean? It usually means money, finance, going to the bank and, getting a better relationship with the female banker or the female banking manager. That's Venus in the 8th house. But it also has to do with non-material resources. So it's how you share your time and your physicality with the person that you love, the sexual intimacy. Now, Venus being a thoroughly good planet, and a friendly planet at that to your sun sign, Gemini, then we can safely say that the transit of Venus in the 8th house brings with it pleasant experiences and an enjoyment associated with those specific activities, such as matters of intimacy. Also, if we want to talk about the material resources, a smoothing over of any differences that you may have. And the 8th house has to do with legacies, wills, gifts, annuities, superannuation, taxation. All of those things can work in your favour at this month. I'm just peeping around the camera here to have a look at my screen, the way I've got this set up. I explore different setups every week, so sometimes I checkmate myself and I can't quite see what I'm looking at. So that's the other important one. February 10 is important. We see the transit of Mercury in your 10th house, so a lot of activity associated with letter writing, communications, emails, negotiations for and about your workplace, just really connecting with your workplace personnel to get a better understanding of how things work. To foster better workplace relations is always a good thing. And Mercury here is actually quite comfortable. It is your ruling planet, and this brings with it some upliftment in your professional activities. The aspect that's a little bit difficult, even though you've got all of this good luck and this newfound insight and interest and curiosity for new subjects, Mars moves into the 12th house of your horoscope after the 14th, and that is going to stay there for a while, and it lowers your actual physical energy. So you may have a whole lot of thoughts and feelings bubbling up within yourself, but you may not be able to translate that into practical affairs. It's a hidden house, so you may be paying a lot of attention to the things which have up till recently escaped your notice. So you understand that not dealing with those issues is only going to obstruct you and create problems down the track. You don't want to kick the can down that path. You need to address those issues immediately, but they may not be addressed in the same way. This is sort of behind the scenes work, really studying quietly how you're going to solve a particular problem, how you're going to write that email, what sort of angle are you going to take when you beat someone up because they haven't done something wrong. So this is really a preparatory sort of transit, and one that if you use that energy correctly is going to give you a lot more leverage in your negotiations and anything else that you have to do. Sun transits the 10th house after February 18. That again just confirms the opportunities in your workplace. There may be some problems around the 24th leading up to that with the communications that we talked about. Mercury moves into the square to your sun sign, and that can make it difficult. Miscommunication, misunderstanding, disagreements. But that's going to be well dealt with by Venus right at the end of the month, the 1st of March, and I won't go into that too much, but that's going to counteract that. Venus in the 9th house is that super duper lucky planet that I mentioned for you, bringing with it a smoothing over of any difficulties that you may have. Take a look at the more in-depth synopsis that I've given you at astrology.com.au. You can read all about these transits in more depth. You can see the daily readings. We've got the full year now available to you for 2019. And of course, if you've got any questions, just drop a message here. Email me at Dadhichi@astrology.com.au. We say Dadhichi@astrology.com.au. Until next month, have a great time, and I'll see you again. Take care now. Bye-bye.